Chapters. My name is Agatha together with Aaron Peterson. And today we are going to be presenting the topic that's entitled Stress, the Silent Killer. Are you next? How do you safeguard yourself? It's a very interesting topic. But to be able to understand the presentation, we should go with the basics first. So we should define what stress is. This is a very controversial six-letter word. What it is, it's stress. So simply, it's a demand, physical, emotional, or mental, that causes a person's ability to cope. Okay? So usually, when you hear stress, it denotes a negative thing. But actually, to be fair with it, there are two sides to it. So it can be positive or it can be negative. It can either make you or break you. Make you because a small amount of good is good, a small amount of stress is good. It's going to help you out, motivate you to perform your tasks well. So it shakes you up during that time when you need a little push of the extra back. But on the negative side, excessive amount of stress can be bad for your health. Stress, like change, is inevitable. So there's nothing that we can do to hide from it. There's only one thing that we can do. We cannot eliminate it, but we can do stress management. So basically, we just have to manage stress that it does not do any harm to a person. All right, since we are in the business world, everybody here is going to be employed at some point in their lives. So we basically focus the slides or the topics like stress in the workplace areas. Okay, so we're going to be discussing about topics that are based in the office areas. Okay. All right, so the first kind of stressor that we have is the physical aspect. So when you get into a job, that depends on the type of job you have. Office jobs, you're going to have back and neck pains, but for those that are construction workers outside of the office area, they get even more fatigued by doing that. They also have the mental health. Mental stress, when you can't meet your quotas, you have deadlines. And another one is the emotional aspect of it. When you go into a work, it's inevitable you're going to have misunderstandings with your colleagues, with your bosses. So we can all agree that heartbreaks, pains, that's definitely a big stressor for all of us. And that's something that, we can't get rid of that because that on a day-to-day basis, you can get that. So how does stress affect the body? It affects us in different ways we can never imagine. We get sick, but we don't know that it's the effect of stress. So stress can present in different areas of the body, like the brain, cardiovascular, skin, joint, muscles, immune system, and even the reproductive system. Okay, so on the next slide, we're going to be talking about the highest mortality, the highest source of stress or the illness that has the highest mortality rate. So this is the heart attack. So when you're stressed, you have adrenaline. It's a hormone that temporarily causes your heart rate, BP, blood pressure, high cholesterol. So heart attacks can possibly happen during that time. It also has an effect on aneurysm. So if you have aneurysm that's undiagnosed, you have to be very careful with stress because stress is a trigger that's going to rupture the blood vessel. And if your blood vessels rupture, the prognosis of that is really bad. A lot of people don't survive. It's also linked to stress, and it's also linked to lupus that has terms in regards to the immune system.
So you're probably all terrified now and wondering how do you avoid the stress in the workplace. One of the biggest things we can do is find hobbies, so meditation, coloring, exercise, just finding something to allow yourselves to get away from the stress, even if just temporarily. And finding that time to fill your time so you're not focusing on the stress. Sleep is one of the best things we can do. Getting a full 8 hours of sleep a night. Shorting yourself on that sleep is only going to increase the mental fatigue, which is only going to increase your stress. Whereas if you're coming in well rested and well refreshed, you're more likely to be able and willing to face the day. Don't be afraid to seek help. So find a counselor, find a therapist, be willing to talk and be open with them. They're there to help you just as much as you need the help. They're there to listen and can honestly help you process the stress a little better and help you find ways for you to manage it. But your therapist can be your only option. Keep open channels with your boss, with your coworkers. Stress looks different for everybody. Stress affects everybody differently. And being able to communicate that with your employer and with your coworkers, they'll be able to help you manage it better. They'll be able to offer you better solutions and know when you're getting to those points. Coping mechanisms, which at the time can seem like a great idea, unfortunately they can also make your reality a lot worse. Turning to alcohol, gambling, drugs, anything like that, it's only going to make it that much worse. It may seem like it's better at the time, but you're compounding the problem and making it worse. You can fall down the slope of alcoholism, gambling problems, increasing that stress in your life. Time management is another solution, knowing how much time, what needs to be prioritized, how to prioritize it, and also learning what to say yes and no to. Don't be afraid to turn down a task if you don't think you can manage it. If it's going to take too much, if it's going to cause you stress, be willing to say no, or be willing to work with somebody to find a method that could work for you or them. Having care in yourself and having positive affirmations is one of the best things you can do, because if you don't believe in yourself, you're never going to accomplish anything. You're going to stress over it. You're going to wonder if you're the wrong person for the job. Whereas if you're positive affirmations, you're going to be knowing that you are the right person to do this job and how to do this job. Have fun at work. Build your teams. Work with your teams. They're there to support you as you are for them. Be able to laugh with them, joke with them, have fun at work. There is a job to do, but at the same time, you have to be willing and able to work with your team, because stress conflict and workplace conflict is only going to add to the stress. And be always open and willing to listen. Don't come in with a bias to your workplace. It's only going to add the stress to you and to your coworkers. You want to have a non-confrontational workplace. You want to be willing to listen to everyone, work with everyone, and be able to understand everyone just as well as you want to be understood and work with them. And in closing, I'm going to leave you with this quote that stood out to both of us.
So that's one thing that we want everyone. Thank you very much.